knowing that they are facing each other in the finals.
Well, Rumble and Thresh are going to be the ones banned out here with that support ban. I have heard TSM go back and forth between Thresh and Janna, so we may see that getting picked up in some kind of safe composition for them. And right now, the homework seems to be done quite well, taking away priority picks while still getting a few flex in there as well. That Vladimir is a good ban out for the Cloud9 side.
Yeah, it's interesting. It feels like they're fearful of either the top lane or mid lane Vladimir, despite Cloud9 not playing any of it in the semifinals, but it is honestly, in my opinion, one of the best picks on this patch, especially if Team Solomid wants to run a lane tank for Dyrus, which is what they did in the last 2 games in the semifinals, where Dyrus played Maokai and Sion in games 3 and 4 against Team Impulse.
Well, something that TSM kind of faced with a ban towards them like that, Impulse rather, banned that Cassiopeia. They were a little confused because they didn't play the cast. It's kind of the same idea with the Vladimir not being played by Cloud9, but it's still something that they fear. That Janna actually gets banned out too, so Lustboy gets hit with 2 along with Dyrus's.
They're targeting, surprisingly, Lustboy's support champion pool. We know Lustboy is a very good disengage support, but with the Nautilus ban being thrown at Elimination, that was actually Lustboy's 3rd support. So they're now pushing Lustboy down to number 4. And those target bans at support also suggest that Elimination may have been working on something special. He is usually the first one in North America to pull out supports. And we were talking a little bit about a potential support Kennen, which maybe we'd see from Elimination now that all these supports are banned out.
Yeah, it hasn't really made its way over here just yet. But it would be awesome if Sneaky could also pull out that Callista combo. Gragas gets taken away, something Meteos and Santorin have both been using to great effect throughout the last few weeks of the split. And you would see that in EU huge as well. I
feel like Meteos will match the Gragas with the Sejuani pick eventually. I don't know when it will happen in this draft. I'm not sure which jungler Meteos actually values higher. He's a bit of a troll when you talk to him. I was trying to ask him about it, and he asked me, which jungler do you think is better? I said, I think Gragas wins. He smiled and said, we'll see about that.
We'll see about that. Well, I like the fact that both teams are like, the junglers are going to play something that's going to be good anyways, so let's ban out other lanes, and the junglers can get to pick what they want. No jungle bans here, so that Gragas goes over, and we see Cloud9 now with the Maokai and the Urgot to come out.
That Urgot's very intriguing because it can go in either the mid lane or the bottom lane. It flexes like that. Wild Turtle also had a really bad time in laning phase against Urgot when Apollo played it in the semifinals. It also opens up the possibility for Cloud9 to build a heavily tanky team, which would diminish Bjergsen's effectiveness if he picks an assassin. It's actually very, very potent from a champ select and versatility perspective to have Urgot locked in that early.
Well, Dyrus is saying, yep, yawn Lulu once again. Let's do it. Keep safe in the top lane and the Kog'Maw. They literally are sticking to their guns if they pick the Kog'Maw here. Within the video they just released, they said if we ever get that composition again and we have a Lulu, just pick the Kog'Maw. It'd be crazy if they actually just stick with that.
They do have some protection stuff ready to go with it.
Nami too.
They almost, oftentimes, I say a team is best served by just locking in the champions immediately, but I think it was a little bit of a mind game there, hovering the Kog'Maw, saying, you guys don't want to pick all tanks, we'll just pick Kog'Maw. We're going to do it. We're crazy. But honestly, Lustboy being pushed down to his 4th support, Nami, is a throwback actually more to last split, where he played a lot of Nami. And it is also good disengage against a tank team, which Cloud9 is building up real fast.
World of Tanks team. Look at this. Sejuani and Braum as well. So they're bringing the ice with the last 2 picks there. Going to be a great fight composition from Cloud9, something they have a forte in.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Now the question will be, how does TSM counter this? You know, Vladimir is already banned away. He's good against a lot of tank tops. You want to be able to build something that does sustained damage, AoE damage, or shredding damage against a tank. Orianna Kog'Maw is pretty good, but it makes them have one source of threat. Ziggs in an 80 carry would punish their grouping aspect. That's something that Cloud9's team is going to do. It's going to group heavily. So therefore, Ziggs and Jinx right there, that's a lot of AoE damage that can maybe punish a tank ball.
You were correct that Turtle had a hard time against that Urgot, but once they got out of lane, he was definitely racking up the kills with a Jinx. So he will once again pick that Jinx. We'll see if this is actually Sneaky's, though.
I like the Ziggs a lot more compositionally, but in order for Bjergsen to be on a playmaker who can roam and impact lanes, Ahri is his style of pick. That's more of a pick that is just saying he is going to beat high and be able to impact other lanes. Not as much about the team fights, because if Bjergsen can win the lane, then he will have the impact in those team fights.
Well, hopefully they can get a little bit of wave clear for Cloud9 in this last pick. Not a whole lot represented by this tank lineup that they're bringing to the table just yet. They can sure fight a good fight, though.
Well, now we'll get to see whether they pick an AD carry or a mid laner, which will define Cloud9's team composition. We've been wondering what high breaks out. What if they did a Corki mid here and then threw Urgot in the bottom lane? Corki was High's best pick pretty much in the semifinals.
That is still left up.
Or just speed for the Tonks.
So there's their wave clear.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I can't wait to see High's Urgot here against Ahri. That's maybe what's going to make or break this game here, because if High can prevent Bjergsen from roaming, the tank ball in teamfights could be overwhelming from Cloud9 since they get the Sivir speed behind it. But looking at TSM's team composition, it's a lot of comfort champions or old comfort champions. Recent comfort with the Gragas on Santorin, and old school comfort with Lustboy on Nami. We'll see how practiced he's kept that with all the other supports he's been.
Bjergsen as well, tipping back to Ahri on this one's going to be very nice for him. A super comfortable laning phase in that one if he can stay away from those charges. We have not really seen High on this Urgot. Loco said it's up to him on Cloud9's side to be the one to pull out all the stops, the new champions, and do that. It was funny listening to Bjergsen because he's worried about Meteos and Santorin. He thinks they'll have the biggest matchup. So everybody's got their mind set on somebody else who's going to do well in this match, which means I think we'll get a good game from everyone, Jad.
Yeah, and we know with these guys, the game one, while it is important in the overall context of the series, does not decide the series in any way. A lot of times they're champion pool testing in these first games, and things will change drastically afterwards. But honestly, those are some pretty cool team compositions for game one.
Let's see what happens. We've had best of fives for a quite, what is it, last 6 or 7 series?
Both the semifinal series in Europe were best of 5. The third place matches were all best of 5. The first finals was best of 5.
So the teams are loading onto the Rift. Let's see if we can get another one. Let us know how you think the series is going to play out. Tweet hashtag TSM win or hashtag C9 win to @LOL Esports. And as always, we'll be checking those throughout the game and see how you are voting. The crowd is ready. All the lights lighting up, the thunder sticks being clapped. The crowd outside is ready as well. We are on to the Rift for game 1 of the 2015 North American Spring Split Finals.
I think it's safe to say everyone is ready for this one, Riv.
Man, I wonder if it separated TSM inside and Cloud9 outside.
No, I think that's just all TSM fans.
I didn't really hear any chance.
There are a lot of Cloud9 fans, but there are many more TSM fans,
indeed,
as we have learned.
Woo. Just got to get it calibrated. Figure out where everything is. Scope was off a little bit. So the early wards aren't getting too deep here. Santorin's obviously able to just brute that one in. I'll give Meteos a little. No, it should be down before he goes for his Raptors, rather. So nothing big coming from anybody in the early game. Turtle's going to sit towards the top lane, and it does not look like going to get the 2v2 matchup here.
Yeah. One of the nice deeper wards, though, that was placed there by Santorin was actually trying to stop Maokai from stacking saplings and taking the Raptor camp.
Oh.
Somewhat risky ward to get in there, but the fact that he has done so will deny balls a little bit.
We're talking about balls being on the Hecarim and being on something they can carry to the Maokai this time. Still do a sufficient amount of damage.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get to play it that much, the Maokai that is, only 2 times in the semifinals, but throughout the ending of the regular season, the Maokai was the pick for Cloud9 to lock in with their very first choice. The fact that they were able to just kind of get it this time without having to put a huge priority on it, you know, first pick Gragas being over on the other side, is rather valuable. Lustboy trying to do some Nautilus things on Nami.
Still working with water.
Not the same.
Not a problem.
I think.
Just being smooth. I don't think he's going to get too far in this one. Just knowledge of what Cloud9 is doing and at what speed. Elimination's going to try to do a little bit of his own scouting here as he heads down towards the bottom side of the map. It looks like they are out already. He doesn't even get
You can tell these guys practiced a lot against each other because they got the same ideas with what to do in these lane swaps. Honestly, TSM wins out on that a little bit. Basically, Lemonation's invade was later, and even though he stole one tiny little raptor, the camp itself wasn't stopped. Whereas for Cloud9 here, they forewent doing the raptors and ran straight to the other side of their jungle. Therefore, it's actually the TSM duo jungle here of Darius and Santorin that are ahead on experience.
Scuttle, yep, given over to Meteos. Play that well. Looks like he might get a ward over the wall here, and yeah, they are going to quickly get this. Lemonation's ward towards red, definitely giving them a little bit of help to make sure nobody else comes in. And 3 wards with the Scuttle Crab is all they need.
With a level 1 support, too. So really low experience values here early from Cloud9. There will be more experience, substantially more experience on the side of TSM. And for a Dragon, they get first shot at ganking high here. Gragas Flash E is one of the most lethal ganking tools. Ooh! So that's one way to stop it.
Yeah.
Is if High... That's all credit to High there, actually, for avoiding that gank. Because Odd One is watching as well.
Oh, yeah.
But because he knows that the Gragas gank, early game, if he Flash E body slams you for the stun, it's almost a guaranteed death because Bjergsen would charm him for sure. And when Santorin was body slamming in, he wouldn't have been in range unless he flashed, but High respected it flashed anyway, was able to get it alive. Hey!
1-2 miss there. Darius is going to be able to head a bit of a split in the uprights on that one, and TSM looks like they can get out safely. They have to be careful what's really happening here, though. Can they get out in time? They're still going to try to take down Darius. The Ignite is on. The Ignite is ticking. Is it too little? And he stays alive with the potion just chugged at the right time.
If not for the 3-man bubble from Lustboy, which he flashed in for, Darius was dead for sure. So Lustboy supporting everybody but Wild Turtle early on in this game.
Yeah, Lustboy doesn't even need training wheels back to these champions. He's just straight off and running. No mistakes, all plays right out of the gate for him. A nice hit by Bjergsen. He needed that 5-4 in this lane, not too far behind, but he's been taking those corrosive charges a little too much, and High has that upper hand. 34-25 in the mid lane right now. So Turtle freezing away in this top lane, shouldn't really see any trouble for quite an amount of time in the game here. So he should be big for TSM come mid-late game.
And someone who is not very big right now for Cloud9 is actually Balls. Level 2 on Maokai, everything has gone against his farming early on in the game, which typically does not work out for Cloud9 when they need him as an initiation threat. Think about the very early jungle. Lustboy pushed him off of the Raptor camp. He couldn't share that. The first experience Balls actually got was sharing the wolves on the other side of the jungle. Then he never even got lane experience because the dive was shut down. He never got kill or assist gold. And now he's set up in a lane against Lustboy and a level 5 Jinx. There is no way he gets meaningful farm in the next few minutes.
TSM getting everything to fall into place accordingly, and that ward early from Santorin towards Raptors was a pretty big catalyst to make all of this come to be. Cloud9 still clearing together towards this top side. Ball's trying to keep himself somewhere in experience range to be able to help in this game. Santorin now is by himself. It's definitely going to start to catapult him ahead a little bit more.
That first pick Gragas, and Santorin, he played it in all 3 of TSM's victories in the semifinals against Impulse and shut down Rush, who had been a jungler who was on complete fire for the last half of the split as well as the series against Gravity. Santorin exhibits a large amount of control on the map on Gragas, both from just his clearing, but mainly his gank potential and his consistency as a player. All coming in huge on the jungle Gragas.
Yep. We really haven't seen too many woes with these teams. Santorin's kind of the biggest woe right as IEM hit before the season started was really all that TSM had to work on. People thought that he might kind of just be in the back pocket of Bjergsen all the time. Santorin won't be something TSM needs to grow, but I think he grew a little bit faster than everybody thought he could.
Yeah, an unfortunate tech issue. High spilled his drink on the keyboard, so classic mistake for the home game.
Urgot is so sloppy. God. Just get control of yourself.
Yeah. Prompting this pause.
Not a problem.
That's unfortunate. Really.
At least it's not kind of like an emotional thing. You're just like, oh, man, now I'm really in for it. It's just kind of like, whoops, we're good.
It's actually surprising that this hasn't happened before. I mean, think of all the LCS games we've had.
Well, we took the banana away from Lemon Nation before anything could happen last time, so. See, he's still getting support.
Make sure everything still works. Maybe they'll get him a replacement keyboard. We shall see. But honestly,
are getting a replacement, yes. But yeah, we were talking about Santorin and how he has been helping the team. But looking at these teams, 2 of the only teams who saw 0 subs or changes throughout the split. So it's kind of no real surprise that they are the top 2 fighting for the finals.
Yeah, Cloud9 no supports or subs in LCS play for 2 years now.
Yeah, yeah.
TSM, if they do a supporter substitution, it usually works out for them. Finding Santorin, and it wasn't always like this. Like this TSM team is actually somewhat battle tested at this point,
right?
Because if we do think back, not the IEM they won in Katowice, but the IEM they didn't win in San Jose before the LCS split happened. Things weren't looking that great. Bjergsen was killed multiple times by Power of Evil.
Right, this new guy
Bjergsen had lost it. They said Santorin was out jungled. He wasn't going to be able to do anything. Then they come into the LCS season and they pick right up after. They win IEM Katowice against Team WA in the final.
To be honest, all of that did happen to now the 2nd place team in Europe. So
yeah, I know. And
Unicorns
of Love proved to be pretty good.
Yeah, Unicorns of Love definitely came out strong. So they were showing what they had, and TSM just wasn't ready. But as we've said before, they do pride themselves on being able to fix these situations and come out on top.
Yeah, and now we come back
there we go.
into high. He has to lane against the MVP Bjergsen here. It's been a pretty poor split for Cloud9, all things considered. But again, they find themselves sitting in the final. We look back, regular season, week 1 even. They were last place in the LCS. They're the only team to go 0-2 in week 1. Fighting back from that, they had to continually climb up the standings. They only got their bye in the last week of the regular season by beating the top 2 teams in the LCS consecutively. They got that seed. Then, in the semifinals, they were down 0-2. They were already thinking about how to pick up the pieces, how to recover this Cloud9 brand, how to reassert their dominance. But they actually haven't lost it yet. They've been closer than ever to looking mortal and not the dominant team in the North American LCS. And now they spilled drinks on their keyboard.
Yep.
So
just right when they were on the cusp of reaching the pinnacle once again. It's different to look at, though. The way they surged through the split is almost scary if I were them in the first split. Hey, they beat it so well. You almost can't quantify how that was, why that was. Was it just because teams weren't ready? Were they always getting the better picks? Was it in Champion Select? What was that Pandora's box, and can you find it again? Because that is the real question, right? Where did that Cloud9 go? Or did everybody just get amped up and better because they were good and they raised the competition?
Trying to recapture the dominance of their 25-3 split they had when they entered the LCS. I don't know if we'll ever see another North American team as dominant as Cloud9 was. Because honestly, the scene has grown so much since then. We look at the successful brands in North America now, and it's the teams with the coaching staffs and the experience and the top talent they've been able to recruit. And that's what ends up in the finals here. Cloud9 with the experience, TSM with both. And now we're back in. High's replacement got his keyboard.
Yes, he did. I was always a big proponent of fresh blood in a scene, being able to do very well, wanting it more, going even harder. Not that it has fizzled out for these teams. The veteran status is now what brings them to this level and caliber of play. A lot has been dodged out by Fancy Feet High, but even with 4 legs, he can't tiptoe out of that one. High goes down for first blood in the mid lane after a rinse and repeat follow-up after they blew his flash.
Ruthless right there, right after the pause. Now, teams cannot communicate during tech delay pauses like that, so that wasn't something TSM hatched up. That is something they were able to execute as soon as we get back into the game, and it punishes High heavily. Bjergsen with first blood is never a good thing for the enemy team.
Never a good thing. He also doesn't really have to just throw anything towards magic resistance right away, so he can go ahead and build ability power and be even more of a menace here if he wants to start to get the roam on. Waiting for that 6 on Santorin still until we get another big gank from him. But everybody on TSM happy with how that went, and really not looking to push it too hard. We're going to get this top lane with a bit of damage. Actually, going to let the wave just clear out. We might even get the rotate to bottom.
Yeah, Mita's going to try and pick up that free farm. It's, again, unfortunate that this isn't going to the Maokai, who is being more and more denied. Overall CS, 10 CS and level 4 on the Maokai, as the TSM vote is still 2-1, basically. And for good reason. TSM playing this early game quite well. Experience leads throughout. Even the first blood gave him the gold lead. The Dragon was given up for that experience, for the most part. Now, BF swords on both AD carries as well, who have been farming at a pretty reasonable clip since they're not laning against anyone.
Safe days for them. Wild Turtle is happy to do that. And without Sneaky really being on that Lucian, we usually see him take a back seat as well. Looking at that lane now, a nice bit of trade damage going over to Lustboy, but they have all the mana in the world to stay in this lane, and with 30 seconds here, I'm sure one of them would love to get that damage trade in their favor to make Dragon a little bit easier. Rotation already towards the bottom side from Santorin, but he is warded out nicely by, I believe, Lemonation's work down there. Slowly coming in for the gank. Another spot out here. They've already got the pings. They are pretty much ready. Meteos' top lane, though, so they may still try to go for this bottom side, knowing the aggression is there and they could be safe for the dive.
Whoa, Dyrus, that was unnecessary, man. Dyrus blows his ultimate.
Maybe the length of the chase scared him too much?
Yeah, it's like he's going to have backup if he's being this crazy.
You can't see high in mid lane.
Yeah.
Ari had moved away. Interesting. Something they may be able to use here. Good timing to happen at Dragon.
Because of the length of the steal, though, TSM able to steal the blue buff as well as prop up his Dragon take. So while Dyrus' ultimate was unnecessary, Meteos' chase was even more unnecessary. I think Meteos was tunneling a little bit on giving balls space to farm by getting Dyrus out of there, but it did cost them pretty heavily there, losing blue buff to the enemy mid laner as well as the Dragon.
Everything happened in a matter of seconds. You think it's going one way, then the other. TSM makes a good move for Dragon, and with the kill, now a Dragon in the lead. It's giving them 600 gold. Staying out of the way of Lemonation here. Both supports about to hit 6 in that bottom lane. Things could start to get crazy. Junglers are hovering that bottom side of the map and already have had a bit of hand in the first bloods we've seen, Santorin being in that mid lane.
And both Santorin and Meteos have game-changing ultimates on these junglers, something they actually used awesomely in the semifinals. Santorin's Gragas assaults were perfect, and when Meteos was on Gragas, he was landing great ultimates as well. We've seen Sejuani completely swing team fights before as well, and it will be incredibly important where those ultimates are used and if they can give each team an advantage, because right now, when TSM has that small lead, they're so good at stretching it out.
Yeah.
So unless Cloud9 makes a play with the Sejuani ultimate that is not counter-ganked by Santorin, they may die a slow death to Bjergsen's Art.
That's one thing you get out of Bjergsen over and over again, is a reassuring voice. If we keep doing that, it's something we'll be able to get. Just keep poking, keep ganking mid, and TSM is able to stay on that kind of course and not divert from it. Really is something that keeps them in the game and allows the lead to grow ever so slowly. Raptor buff taking out the bottom ward. It also delays Sneaky's back here, so they may be able to get a little bit of action on this turret.
Yeah, it may cost them a lot of this turret. The turret no longer has that extra resistance because we're 11 minutes into the game. And also, Lemonation had to back away early. All this pressure that Meteos is throwing up in the top lane is being really easily countered and outplayed by TSM.
We've seen games where balls gets focused like this, pushed out, very under-leveled. Now he's got himself back up to leveled, but too many resources have been put back into that for it to work.
TSM outplayed slightly in the early game, which put balls in a hole. And instead of just leaving balls on his own, Cloud9 is putting so many resources into making sure he is a person in the late game, instead of just like a baby sapling tree. So with that,
not many rings.
Instead of TSM putting resources into keeping him down more and more, TSM just putting resources into giving everyone else an edge. By the time Balls matches up with Dyrus, which he kind of is now, maybe all the other lanes for TSM will be ahead, which is the TSM game plan. Get the other 4 people ahead, let Dyrus fend for himself and go even. Yeah,
always. TSM's plan, Dyrus fend for himself, indeed. And with these turrets dropping now, as we see the first one go down just a bit ago for Wild Turtle, Jinx can start approaching these turrets faster. It's going to be even a bigger surge in gold, and those turrets are going to fall down real quick. Bjergsen backing on a ward. Don't think Cloud9's going to be able to work off of any of this. They're all kind of in their own backing position themselves. So, you can expect this slow of a first game, but both teams are definitely giving each other a lot of respect.
Yeah, they are definitely just taking it slow, not trying to take too many risks. These teams they're very different than Unicorns of Love and Fnatic, strategically, to put it in some finite terms. Honestly, these guys just don't fight as much as Fnatic and Unicorns of Love do. They have heavy, heavy vision games that evolve around each other. Cloud9 actually won a lot of games in the middle of the season with incredibly low kill counts.
That's very true.
has been known to play that way as well. When the team fights break out, they will be explosive, but don't expect them to just happen out of thin air.
Going to be difficult. Ball's just on charging up that Rod of Ages, but Catalyst giving him a little bit of HP. It looks like maybe needed in what could be this 4v2 fight in the top lane. 2 in the mid here, Bjergsen, or rather High and Elimination are hanging out there as Bjergsen started to rotate, but he pulls it back. They could still get balls off of this chase. Bubble hits, but it doesn't seem like they took the steps to actually take him down. Oh, hello.
Yeah. Cloud9's got to try and make a play here.
It's on Dyrus. That ultimate is still up for him. He can get the wild growth on. I don't think it's going to be enough as a Winter's Bite and Conclusive Blows just equal out to the stun. And Dyrus goes down. So Cloud9 get a trade on the bottom side for a turret, but they've lost another one up top as well.
Good job right there for Cloud9 to get aggressive right as the turret was falling. Dyrus needed to fall away from that turret to not be at risk for that engage. But now that 2 big ultimates have been blown by Cloud9, TSM looking to maintain the pressure in the mid lane. Every time you put something into Dyrus, TSM will take from you something else.
Oh, always. And they take it quite textbook here in the mid. Another flash needed to be blown, this time on the side of Cloud9 as the 3rd outer turret falls. That was quite quick once they got the bottom one. And that's going to put quite a bit of money over onto Bjergsen and Wild Turtle. Both of them has 1,000, and Santorin just hit that as well. So burning a hole in their pockets, they decide to stay on the map for a little bit longer, get the vision they need to make sure Dragon is all covered.
Yeah. Nice play overall there by TSM. Not being dissuaded by Meteos' Sejuani ultimate because they knew there wasn't follow-up there.
Right.
High still stacking up. Just got his Manamune. Merman is going to be a good distance away. Let's double check that. It's at 391 of 750, so it's not stacking incredibly quickly.
Right.
Rod of Ages still not completed on Balls' Maokai. Not going for the Righteous Glory, so trying to get a little bit more damage in
good
there.
Thing you just got that done.
Relying on the Sejuani ultimate instead of the Righteous Glory initiation. Maybe a Righteous Glory from Lemon Nation. Cloud9 is trying to bide their time, but they're honestly in catch-up mode. They have been for a while, and it's very hard to catch up to a team like TSM who is so apt at trading and trading successfully.
Yeah, they'll play around you. They know exactly what to do to make sure they get it their way. Second Dragon is going to be just that as Cloud9 forced to answer towards the top lane. Team Solomid fans liking the objective pressure that TSM is given right now, and it looks like High could be caught in the mid lane. They catch him sleeping.
And this is exactly what we were talking about. Cloud9 is pushing the bottom lane. They leave an Urgot to stay in the mid lane. He can't clear a wave, so he's just a victim to any skill shots that actually land from TSM. They get another turret. They may get another interior turret. And it is all about the trading right now, but every trade is in the favor of TSM.
Bjergsen plays Urgot a lot himself and fared well against High in the mid lane. 30 CS up as both second tiers are being pushed on either side. Cloud9 is kind of squeezing these, I wouldn't say advantages, but ways to cling back into this game just as TSM gets all of their advantages. Small things towards Cloud9, big steps for TSM.
And specifically because of the style that TSM likes to play, maintaining vision control of the enemy jungle, rushing at people, and getting picks with Bjergsen's Ari. That's the style they need to do. And with 5 turrets killed from TSM and even 3 from Cloud9, the map is opened up substantially, which leaves many more dangerous corridors to walk down for Cloud9 and only increases the risk of Bjergsen being able to punish them for Ari. In an ideal game, team comp versus team comp, the turrets aren't being traded if you're Cloud9. They want it to be a condensed game, a smaller game, so the tanks can actually find team fights again and again over knowable objectives. But when the map is this open, it actually favors TSM, which is why they've been so willing to trade these turrets.
Just able to find Cloud9 at any chance. Ward's already on the bottom side, so they know Maokai will be teleporting into this next fight. They could once again zero somebody out before any of that happens. But they're not moving without safety. Always making sure wards are cleared here. Making sure they have the advantage on that side of the map. Dyrus finishes up Athene's quite a bit ago. Trying to be still useful in this game after getting pushed around quite a bit. Good stuff. Still, that first kill onto Bjergsen is something that Santorin focused. Team Solomid wanted to make sure that High was not a factor, and Bjergsen had an edge.
Santorin traded flashes with High early on in the laning phase.
Right.
They got the return gank before High's flash was up, about 30 seconds before his flash was up. So they
that's very true.
They were definitely keeping timers on that flash from High in the mid lane. And those are the only deaths of Cloud9 this entire game. They have been trying to avoid the pick potential of TSM, but in doing so have taken some unfavorable trades, which now make it harder and harder to avoid the catching, roaming team of Team Solomid.
Hit the shot caller and hopefully silence him as well in the process. Towards the top lane, the zap will not make it across, but Vision allows them to know they can go for the Gragas Cask. That's onto balls now. A little bit too much defense for them to break through those tanks, and quite a few ultimates used by TSM there.
What an awesome matchup of junglers right there. Santorin landing a great ultimate on balls, but then because Meteos landed his ultimate on Sejuani, he neutralized him. Two good junglers there making some nice plays.
Fan zone. Very sunny outside, it seems. Enjoying the matchup. A little bit of heat out there as TSM putting the heat on Cloud9. 20 minutes into this matchup, already approaching the last second-tier turret. A little bit of a TP coming in, but that was also seen. Dyrus says, I am right on your heels. Who needs the wild growth? I got speed. I can give it to you. And it looks like they want a bit of the fight. Knowing Lemonation's Glacial Fissure's coming out, they back out. They disengage for a second, and both teams now are kind of creating a line of scrimmage to say, who's next?
They kind of realized they were out of ultimates when that fight started. Neither the Sejuani or the Gragas could add to that one. And Ball's also TP'd in without home guard, so neither team wanting to fully commit to a fight there. And they end up just delaying each other.
A lot of respect. Bottom wave needs to be cleared out here for Cloud9, so this actually works out nicely for them that they can, relieve a little bit of that pressure and start to get some breathing room. Baron is up. We've seen some very, very, very early Barons here throughout the finals, the playout, or rather, through the final games, I should say, of third, fourth place yesterday in the semifinals. Doesn't seem like anybody's too worried about it here. Scuttlecrab averting from Dyrus. Can't get it.
Sneaky farming pretty well. Matching Wild Turtle. CS for CS, but unfortunately Wild Turtle's got that kill on him, so a 300 gold edge. Both these 80 carries, the main damage dealers for their teams throughout the year, if we look at damage dealt to champions as well as kills. Wild Turtle had more kills, deaths, and assists than Sneaky during the regular season. Every category just plays crazy. Whereas Sneaky had a higher KDA and better CS numbers. Honestly, we're kind of seeing something similar in this match, but as much as we talk about Bjergsen and High, this game is just as much about Sneaky and Wild Turtle. These guys have both stepped up in really big ways this year. Probably the two best 80 carries in North America now, going head-to-head in this classic TSM versus Cloud9 matchup.
Yep. Saw him quite a bit on different 80 carries,
spot.
but now James what a hit from the ultimate from Meteos! TSM is locked up and now retreating as Cloud9 is trying to get the cavalry to approach on this, and they cannot get through the choke point as TSM made their way out very fast after losing Bjergsen.
TSM is lucky to only lose one player after that initiation. Cloud9 going to try and push down this mid turret as fast as possible because there's a dragon objective up as well.
They have a very small minion wave, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter. They have enough damage. They should be able to get Dragon here in a very big move. Completely evens out this game. Next few turrets are going to be really big. The
fact that Cloud9 could posture outside of the Dragon with that many missing turrets, they're missing 4 turrets on the Dragon side of the map that is all danger walking through. But that specific corridor is actually where they want to catch a fight. TSM lost a fight in this spot to Gravity during the regular season against an Urgot.
Wow.
4-man Sejuani ultimate. Giant Sivir damage coming in as well. High is not even involved in that fight. I think that's the main reason you only saw 1 casualty, because no one else could be swapped back into the team for additional kills. But it puts Cloud9 back in position in this game, and critically gives them some time to set up defensive wards.
It's just a whole lot of high-level play coming out of that. Cloud9 got the engage they wanted, which they'll probably never get again. Most teams would have completely died in that situation, which TSM didn't actually die. They disengaged. These guys are on point on both sides. Cloud9 somehow needs to find that one more time.
A hole in TSM's vision control. They have a double sight stone and 2 upgraded yellow trinkets. Previously, Cloud9 was the team that did the double yellow trinkets because Meteos would like to put more of his gold into combat items, and they'd get less vision denial, more overall vision. TSM should have more overall vision right now because of the double sightstone.
They had like
and
4
the double
wards on
upgraded
that
trinkets.
spot. 1 ward got them out there.
4 people on this team, aside from Wild Turtle, can keep 3 wards out on a map indefinitely. And they didn't have the wards there for the Cloud9 fight. Just a lapse in vision control there from TSM, costing the Dragon.
Taking their time for right now, that is for sure. The gold is even right across the board with the Dragons. And kills! Thought Santorin was going to be stepping a little too close, but he's able to suck in his gut there and get out of the way of the Winter's Bite from Lemon Nation. Cloud9 is now, you can see, kind of on the forefront here. They want to start the engages. They're not afraid anymore. The team has grouped in mid, and they're looking for Team Solomid to make another mistake.
Yeah. Well, what's happened now is Cloud9 has successfully denied a lot of the vision. Good pink wards, good sweeping, 1 upgraded sweeper, 2 normal sweepers for Cloud9. But if we look at where TSM is going, they don't have good vision control. That's why they're having Santorin run in as the tanky Gragas with a Lulu to shield him and try and get these wards. Cloud9 only wants to catch them. It's a big game of give and take here. TSM has already traded the majority of the objectives, so there's not much more trading they can do now that they've lost vision control.
Right. You saw him, Santorin, do it once again there. Almost put them in a scary position. You can see Whimsy and other speed-ups being used, saying, shouldn't be here. Once again, Cloud9 approaches. These guys are just lining up for the fights. Good thing they cannot see Sneaky right now over at red. I'm pretty sure that would be a nice engage for Team Solomid to hit on. And they stave this one off.
The thing is, it's very tricky for TSM to find an initiation without vision control. If they're just walking straight up to Cloud9, they can't really get through the tank lines. They need to pick off one person at a time. What a bold Baron call here by Cloud9. I'd expect them to peel for a fight, but we haven't seen them find fights recently. We'll see here. Do they burn Sivir ult?
Heismer Amana just popped through here. Big boosted damage for Urgot coming into this. Can they get it on the chompers without hitting? Righteous Glory doesn't really get him there. Meteos with a 5-man Sejuani ultimate. If TSM can make it through this, they got it. But Cloud9 is locking them down. Bjergsen on the outside. He gets swapped in with the position reverser. How is TSM still alive in this one? They are doing everything they can, but Cloud9 closes the door on that fight.
A 5-man Sejuani ultimate. Have you ever seen a better Sejuani ultimate in competitive play? He did the ult flash as well to make it point blank and faster. Beautiful initiation there by Cloud9, using their movement speed, catching everyone, and then running them down for the rest of the team fight.
Absolutely incredible plays here coming out of Meteos. Struggling in the top lane to keep balls in the game and then taking control of the mid game by himself there with 2 huge ultimates. One from the blue and now that second one. Let's see it again.
Game-changing plays right there. They walk around the chompers. Watch this.
Ooh.
Okay, so what he did is he actually flashed Q'd to get in point-blank range and then just hit his ultimate. So he didn't actually instant cast the Sejuani ultimate, but the effect was the same because he was right next to TSM when it landed. The explosion radius stuns 5. At that point, Sneaky was able to get into the brunt of the TSM team without them getting protected, while Turtle did not do enough damage. Therefore, Sivir ran him down, and my goodness, that initiation from Cloud9 was legendary.
Said it earlier, Jat. 2 words, game-changing. These junglers have game-changing ultimates, and I think we just saw that happen for Meteos.
I can't believe he hit all 5 people. Like, TSM has been disengaging so well this entire game, and Meteos has landed one ult on 4 and another ult on 5. TSM does need to spread out a little bit. I think that's one thing we've learned here. Now with Baron Cloud9 trying to siege, it's going to be tough.
It is going to be very tough for TSM now to reassess how to get back into this one. They still have a bit of vision on their side of the map, but these fights are happening right out in the open. And Cloud9 is using their fright prowess in this tank line to just get the fights done. A huge gold lead now of 4,000 after a neck-and-neck game for the first 25 minutes. Did not think that was going to be the way the game changed, that's for sure. What an incredible way for Cloud9 to start things off here in Game 1.
Down a ton of turrets as well, and it's not over yet because TSM can still catch out individual members of Cloud9, and the only fights they've lost have been off of 4 to 5 people getting caught in the Sejuani ultimate.
Oh, I think Meteos saw him there.
Yeah.
He definitely had sight.
TSM has control over this dragon, though, because of poor back timings by Cloud9. They end up getting this third dragon.
I feel like that was it to the wayside for Cloud9, but they still have to be careful as that creeps up towards 5. Aspect of the dragon is still something that can close the door right back on you. Cloud9 would not be feeling too good. We have a long series here. We are only in game 1, and 30 minutes is what we were kind of seeing as a lot of these games end yesterday, back and forth, and these guys are going to take each other to the late game. 3 kills for Sneaky now as he is really becoming a big factor over on the side of Cloud9. Wild Turtle's picked himself up a few as well.
Wild Turtle going for the higher damage build with Phantom Dancer, but Sneaky completing his third item faster. They also catch TSM out of wits, and they push straight down. That's an inhibitor gone, most likely. Wow. A
lot of respect and a little bit out of position for TSM on that play.
Yeah, I think TSM was willing to concede a bottom turret and were just a little bit out of sorts with where they're going to be going.
Yeah.
They actually have a lot of wards sprinkled around the dragon area / that side of the map, so it is a little bit inexcusable that TSM gives up that turret so uncontestedly. But with that inhibitor down, that is mission successful for Cloud9 with the Baron buff. They can now use that pressure of super minions the next time a major objective comes up, like when the Baron respawns.
See what kind of items everybody's getting in their inventories. Definitely synergizing with the team is kind of the name of the game here. Lockets, Righteous Glory coming out, something that can also complement the champions on your team. It's been the focus as well for both. Lustboy has focused the Mikhails as well to get that position reverser off of whoever High is going to be targeting.
It's also to just stop the Sejuani ultimate.
Yeah, that too.
The one.
Hopefully you're not all 5 in at that time.
Please no.
So we almost have the Zanyas onto Bjergsen as well, kind of just behind on core items that would make these fights a lot easier for themselves. Dyrus had that needlessly large rod, which he kind of passed up the Lucidity boots to get, but has finished those now. Turtle.
Uh-oh.
Put the shell on. This could be bad. This would be great for Balls as well. He needs to get something to get back into this game. He's been benefiting from everybody else. Oh, they're going to give it to High. Assist money is still good money.
Yeah, this is a situation where TSM couldn't trade something back, so they have clearly lost control of this game. When Wild Turtle was out too far trying to farm that wave. There's a lot that TSM has lost here, all because of Meteos' ultimates. And we kind of knew when Meteos picked this Ahri that for TSM to win this game, he was going to have to win lane, transition that advantage to other lanes, and then use vision control to continually catch off Cloud9. The first thing happened. He won the lane with the Ahri. As far as transitioning to other lanes, not really, because Cloud9 was trading objectives, which would have set up the third play from TSM, which is starve the enemy out of vision control, get picks, use those picks to catapult them into objectives. But as TSM was going for those picks, miraculously, Cloud9 worked around TSM's vision net. Meteos landed several good ultimates, and now the vision net is gone. So in full 5v5 team fights, TSM, unless they play miraculously and Cloud9 misses some big ultimates, TSM is destroyed in those full 5-on-5s. Therefore, they've kind of lost their main win condition and are now relying on Cloud9 to make a mistake.
That early game of Sejuani in the top lane was what TSM worked off of. They dropped all 3 outer turrets immediately. But like you said, no roaming. I think Bjergsen's and the team's focus was to take down High too much. Those 2 kills kept him to the 2nd tier turret, which easily becomes roam, right? After that first tier is down, you get the inner wards, and you're all over the side lanes.
High is down 80 CS to Bjergsen. I mean, we can see that they shut down his Urgot, but without the focus, they're not dealing with other stuff. TSM scattering this time. No 5-man Sejuls today.
The pop on Santorin, that's his flash. Explosive cast goes out to try and save his life. It's a nice set of chompers from Turtle. The tsunami as well from Lustboy coming through, and they may be able to just retreat into the base. That would be the best of the situation for them right now. On to Lemon Nation. That's going to be a lot to take him down. Cloud9's not able to get anything out of this as they're kind of floundering around in mid right now.
They were trying to take the minions. Lemon Nation did not get the backup of his team right there. Re-engage.
Going out of Lustboy. That's the blade. Almost the boomerang coming in from Sneaky. One more shot. He is able to get Lustboy. Turtle falls. And Cloud9, they don't back up. They go right through the front door. And the super minion could make this the game for them.
High held on to his position reverser for so long. He waited for Bjergsen to try and make a play. They slowed down Wild Turtle Balls with the reinitiation. That's why they kept the Maokai in the game. Cloud9 takes game 1.
What a swap from a great early game from Team Solomid to come at 33 minutes. Cloud9 turns the game on its head and takes down TSM for game 1.
11 kills to 4, so a fairly controlled game overall by Cloud9. Really great job by Cloud9. They're fighting back from some early lane deficits. Balls as Maokai heavily denied in the 2v1. The 2v1 was played superiorly by TSM early on. Then the mid lane pressure also goes in the favor of Cloud9. But the team play, team fighting aspects of this team composition and this game